Oh, Jeremy Corbyn. Oh, Jeremy Corbyn. Oh, I'm going to share this on Telegram. Oh, bear with me a second. Enjoy the moment. Live for the moment. Feel it and hold it. Let's put this out on my Brian of London channel on Telegram. And it's already, go give it a share if you're watching on Twitter already for me. Give it a share. Well, I did plan on going to bed straight after the exit polls last night, but that was impossible because when those came in, and the British system is, I've got to tell Americans and Israelis, the British system is this first past the post system where every one of 650 constituencies is its own little mini election. It's individually competitive in each one of those 650 constituencies. And so every single one of those votes contributes to the greater knowledge of the result. But the actual numbers of the votes in each of them don't matter. They only matter who won. So there's no concept of a popular vote. You know, they can add it up. Now, that does mean that this morning we'll turn around and we'll see that Jew hater Corbyn will have got 33% of the vote in the UK, which is terrifying. But it doesn't matter because they came a distant second or third or fourth in far too many places. So Boris Johnson has got his fantastic majority, and it's like, this is the British political system that I remember, of strong, bloody governments. And that's where the British system is so good and where proportional representation fails. You know, sort of we're sitting here, I'm here in Israel. By the way, I'm Brian of London, if you don't know me. I do these regular chats from a forest in Tel Aviv called Bereshit Forest, which means in the beginning. They are literally the first words of the Bible, Bereshit, in the beginning. And I'm in the forest, but I'm talking about England today because I was once British. Anyway, Boris Johnson has got a massive mandate, and it's this kind of, he can do anything now. He's really got political power for 5 years, and there's little chance of it. Yes, Brian of London, not in London. He has this political power that people in proportional representation systems like Netanyahu here trying to cobble together coalitions that's failed twice now, they don't get what power. It isn't Bereshit Forest, it's Bereshit. Yeah, the word, trust me, a lot of people make that. Anyway, there are no bears in this forest, but were they here, I am told they would shit in it. The whole of the power that he now wields is brilliant. Anyway, he gave this great little talk at the QE2 Hall, which I was listening to on Radio 4 a little earlier, where he sort of gets up and says before breakfast, and then he gives his little speech. Now, I don't like the fact that he's going on about environmental targets and we're going to be carbon neutral by 2050. No, that's crap. We're going to be carbon neutral by Christmas. That was brilliant. And he was also Boris Johnson was doing answer response with the audience. It's like, how many hospitals? 40! That, I like Boris. I like a populist. I do. I like Trump. I like Boris. And he's going to now give Britain. He says, Brexit by January 31st. Okay, we're going to quibble. We're going to argue. When is the deal going to be done? When is all of the details of the trade going to be sorted out? But And of course, the far left dominated media is now saying, oh, well, does this mean that Corbyn is going to soften his Brexit stance and be a little bit more, sort of trying to do a closer deal with the EU? I don't know, actually. I hope not. I hope he's just going to get the hell out of Europe like he should have done way back when. Blonde man bad, exactly. By the way, if you're watching this on 3Speak after I've done it on Periscope, there are live comments, which you can't see on 3Speak. So sometimes I see them and answer them, and sometimes I don't. That's just the nature of these vlogs, whatever you want to call them. So again, it's Brian of London. I'm here. I'm discussing the enormous, momentous Corbyn defeat. Now let's talk about the actual defeat. Boris has won. But how was Corbyn defeated? Corbyn appears to have been defeated by a massive swing to the Tories of, and I'm going to say it, white working class heartlands, and good on them, finally. And Boris said in his victory speech, he understands that many of these people will have lent their votes to the Tories, and he won't take them for granted. And that's exactly what Labour has done. They've taken the white working class of the northern towns for granted. Nobody mentioned Islam, nobody mentioned rape gangs, nobody mentioned a lot of stuff that should have come up in the election campaign and didn't. And that's Labour. They're going after this woke London transgender, gender neutral, gender fluid, feminist, third wave insanity crowd. And yeah, they won big in London, exactly. And in fact, they didn't even win big in London. They didn't even capture any new seats in London that they should have been able to. They didn't increase. So, and then this is the other thing I hope. Now I'll relate something for the Americans. I really hope that the Democrats in America look at this election and say, it was all about Brexit, we don't need to learn anything from it. And that we can go as woke as we like and as progressive as we like, and we can hate Jews as much as we want, and it won't affect us. That's for the Democrats in America, okay? Have I lost you, Democrats? You've gone? Good. Okay, for the rest of you. If the Democrats take that kind of message away from this, same as they ignored Brexit, they didn't realise what Brexit was. They didn't realise Brexit was a populist wave, exactly as Steve Bannon. This is the vote against globalists. This is the vote against globalism, and this is Bannon would call it economic nationalism. I'm starting to think it's biblical nationalism. It's taking back control of your country and a nation state as defined by the Old Testament. That's where we learned how to be a nation with borders, with defined borders, with a wall if necessary, with the English Channel because you've got it. Borders make nations. Nation states is a happy medium between a globalist one world thing which won't ever work because of human nature, and everybody being little clans and fighting each other, which doesn't work either at the kind of scale of our modern technological society. So somewhere along the way, we have to discover the power and the importance of nation states, and that's modelled on the bloody Hebrew Bible, which is the bit that Corbyn and his vile and virulently anti-Semitic followers want to throw away. They hate the Hebrew Bible. You know why? Because the Hebrew Bible defines Israel. And Israel is what they hate most in the world. So they run from everything that's good, and they run to everything that's bad. And they argue that men are women and women are men. They don't know what they are. And they appease the Muslims, and the Muslims are not worried in England. I'm afraid that that's too far. Whether that, they will regroup and maintain, and they'll find political power in other ways. That's for sure. Labour wasn't their only vector and vehicle, but this is a damn good result for Britain and for the world. Actually, I only hope that we in Israel could learn how to have a solid and stable election here and get a proper damn result, because this vacillating and this dallying with the left is so dangerous. But what I really want to see is Boris Johnson be able to spark something like a Trumpian revolution, cutting useless regulations, taking out some of the EU regulations, giving back Britain the entrepreneurial spirit that we know that it had. I mean, it had it at the sort of end of the late Victorian era, but taxes were way down then. There was no welfare state. It's a question of whether you can do this entrepreneurial thing within the framework of also devoting yourself to an NHS. And you can't devote yourself to the NHS if you keep having open borders and bringing in 200,000 more people a year who then all have babies and don't produce anything for your economy. If you do that, you sink, because you can't afford to pay for the healthcare and the pensions for all of them. So it's still on a knife edge, but you've at least got a chance when you elect people who are not socialists and communists. That's my message for Britain. It's pretty exciting, though. It's definitely, yeah, the drone over Israel is it's better than me. So that's me. I'm in my forest. By the way, I haven't really sold myself for a while. If you want to chip in, help me do these things. I don't ask for, I don't make anybody pay for my stuff. I don't think anybody, but if you value it, send me some value. You can see on my website, brianoflondon.me. Fundition is a system I use. Check that out. I'm working very heavily with 3Speak, which is the video platform I use to put out my videos after I've done them on Periscope, because I fundamentally believe we're going to switch from this centralized economy where everybody gives their stuff to Facebook and Twitter, and then Facebook and Twitter make billions of dollars. I want to shift that over into a crowd-based system where you watch something that you like, you give some value directly to the creator who creates it. That's actually the way the world's going to work. Anyway, I'm Brian of London. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a great night and a great morning, and go on Boris and get Brexit done. Finally. And Shabbat Shalom to all of you.